Hello. Today, an investigation was started on the military helicopter accident in the Nagorno-Karabakh area. It exploded yesterday at 4:30 with officials in it. And here's the list of the casualties. The State Secretary of the Azerbaijan Republic, Ismailov, the General Prosecutor, Gaipov, the State Advisor of the Azerbaijani President's Republic, Azatov, Deputy Prime Minister Gajayev, People's Deputies of the Soviet Union Jafarov and Mamedov, Director of the Azerbaijani Presidential Apparatus Mirzoyev, Prosecutor of the Nagorno-Karabakh area Plasky, Generals Zhinkin and Kado, KGB Chief of the Nagorno-Karabakh area Ivanov, the Deputy Interior Minister of Kazakhstan Selikov, Azerbaijani TV correspondent Mustafayev and technician Shaftabayev. The helicopter, it was reported, had an accident due to weather conditions. The military helicopter had numerous important officials on it yesterday. The State Secretary, the Deputy Prime Minister, the General Prosecutor, journalists of Azerbaijani television, People's Deputies of the USSR, and it was flying towards Bartuna. It departed at 12:30 Moscow time. 2 or 3 hours later, it exploded in the air and landed in an area in the area of Mardonisk. All 23 passengers died. Today, the investigation group from the Azerbaijani Prosecutor's Office and the Interior Ministry officials of Azerbaijan and the Soviet Union started their work. The reason of the catastrophe was not bad weather. Our initial investigation shows that the helicopter was shot in the air. Our specialists who searched the helicopter have found gunshot marks showing that the helicopter was knocked down with a large caliber automatic weapon. Interior Minister troops were at the scene 2 hours after the explosion, and despite a thorough search, could not find pistols or TV equipment which were supposed to be on the helicopter. 7 times the helicopters have been fired upon in this area during the last year. According to the commander of the state of emergency region, there were only 21 people aboard the helicopter. 2 did not make it on time to take off at 12:30. This was the deputy commander of the state of emergency region, Polozov, and Lieutenant Colonel Potapov. The State Commission of Azerbaijan will make the final conclusions as to the cause of this catastrophe, along with the investigative division of the Interior Minister and the local KGB. The Nagorno-Karabakh region conflict, which is continuing for 3 years already, has provoked numerous interethnic conflicts throughout the whole nation. Since the start of the latest peace efforts by the Russian Kazakh official delegations, despite this, the number of casualties is growing. There is a sabotage of the railways, bread shortages, and the gas pipeline cut off to Armenia. Today we must admit it. We must say the words finally. We have civil war in our country. Perhaps it's time to appeal for the help of UN peacekeeping forces. Today, the Armenian official delegation declared that it will find it impossible to continue talks with Azerbaijan. Armenia sees pipeline cutoffs as a hostile political act by the Republic of Azerbaijan against Armenia. The leaders of our nation have somewhat changed their travel routes. Gorbachev is in Irkutsk, Yeltsin is in Bonn. There's a certain tendency. Gorbachev is trying to increase his prestige at home. Yeltsin needs to prove to the West that they need to have direct contacts with Russia. We will speak about Irkutsk first. Judging by the travel plans, Gorbachev seems to want to study the social conditions of Siberia. It's an old factory museum in Irkutsk at the aviational factory. The same aviational factory which builds the Su-27. So we weren't allowed to film it, even though the Su-27 is already being sold in the West and has been presented in all the latest air shows. Gorbachev in the cafeteria, and he's walking around in the street right now, having intense debates. If I knew life would be so difficult, I would never have the 3 kids I have right now. People are upset that all that is being produced at state enterprises is being sold at free commercial prices. Moscow and Irkutsk, the situation is the same everywhere. The standard of living is dropping everywhere. This unplanned visit is typical of Gorbachev's Irkutsk trip. Everybody wants to talk to Gorbachev. Little kids, little boys, and their fathers, even the city leaders want to talk to Gorbachev. Nothing is hidden from Gorbachev. He's shown everything the way it really is. This is a private store belonging to the joint stock company Aktyabar. Gorbachev visited this store. Alex Kovalkov didn't conceal his capitalist achievements, although he regretted that some of the hired labor operating with the old system in mind steal somewhat. People are happy that the store exists, despite the unusually high prices. Gorbachev approved this commercial venture. The next stop Gorbachev made was at the veteran Soviets of the region. 1 out of 6 in this region are living off a pension. 70,000 get a mere 93 rubles per month. The shock economic policy could hit the elderly below the belt. The chairman of the Veterans Soviet, retired Colonel Bizbokov, admitted secretly that he couldn't get bread for 3 days already. The veterans expressed their concerns to Gorbachev, who listened carefully. These children were helped by the president, really helped. Gorbachev gave his own honorarium to the Irkutsk medical authorities, $350,000 for the purchase of modern equipment. Gorbachev, they say, arrived at this clinic to see how his funds, how his monies were spent. Hospital officials gave Gorbachev a list of more necessary equipment costing around $1 million American. This session, to our journalists, seemed like the good old times. Speakers spoke about plans, production, and asked for a $10 billion debt relief. Many issues were addressed to the Committee for Operational Planning, which no longer exists. Gorbachev drew the conclusions. He presented political economic goals and confirmed that life has become very difficult. The formula which the country functions on is the following. Who says the union has fallen apart? I will tell you that which is what keeping the society together has been created during the union. This process is fraught with dangers we never even dreamed of. But we are sustained by that powerful momentum formed by the union, the old union, but it keeps us going. If we lose this momentum, if we don't resolve our problems in new ways, if we don't initiate a new union agreement, then we will not be able to solve our problems without such measures that will cost the people, the nation, and the world very dearly. We must recognize that the nation has no authority structure. The government is in a legal crisis, and today the Irkutsk region is fighting with Russia. That's what we should see. We should not worry about who beat whom and where. That is not the point. Enough of these political games. Another issue, military-industrial conversion. We produced 64,000 tanks, more than the whole entire world. What will we do with these tanks and in tank factories? Just imagine how much was wasted. This is just one example. What about the mountains of nuclear weapons? Now we have to disarm these weapons, and that will cost billions. We have to disarm our nuclear weapons. This is a very serious business. It must be done. Our best minds, our best funds, our best scientists, our best everything.